also, please don't hesitate to use the chat. Definitely take your screen on, put your screen on, chat to us. We'd love it to be as interactive as possible, and ask us questions along the way. Yeah, please, as interactive as possible. We'd love that. And do not hesitate to ask a question, because that's what we're here for. So
Definitely.
Just introducing ourselves. So my name's Teresa Mayrano. I am a consultant and a team leader from Reservoir, but anyway, we're Australia-wide these days. And I'll let Renee introduce herself in a minute, but tonight's class is mainly about using your TM6, or if you don't have a TM6, checking out what the differences are with a TM6. We've got a trade-up offer that ends tomorrow, so we thought it's actually great timing. Now, what we're cooking up tonight is specific for the TM6. It's stuff you can only do with your machine. So that's why we thought we'll have a bit of a little showcase. 3 recipes tonight. Honeycomb, amazing. The Aussie Potato Salad, which also involves using the new peeler cover, and sticky chili beef as well. So a meal, a side, and a sweet as well, all in under an hour. That's our plan. Renee, do you want to introduce yourself?
Yeah, definitely. So I'm Renee Marcruzzi. Probably been in the game for just over 6 months now, but I am totally loving my Thermomix. Tonight I will be doing the sticky chili sticky beef, but the thing I love about it is when I start, and I'll be able to show you my ingredients, it's so basic and it will be done in minutes. So that's what we love, and I guess that's why we cherish our machine so much. But yeah, can't wait to get started tonight to show you these great recipes in action. So I'll shoot you back to Teresa, who's going to get us started.
Okay, we're going to get started with, we're starting with the honeycomb tonight, because that actually takes a bit of time to do the cooking process. So we will start with that. Now, I'm going to go from above so you can see what's happening, because you've all, I think, has everyone got a TM6? I know Sarah does, Sam does, and I'm just checking you've got a TM6 just so we can, I won't share the screen if you do, but I picked honeycomb from Cookie Dough, and I'm going to go straight to it. So it's asking for 300 grams of white sugar. Now, in terms of being accurate, you want to be accurate for this, okay? It makes the difference. So I'm putting in 300 grams of sugar. And if anyone's tried honeycomb, oh, yep, Anna's got a TM6, great. Okay, so put in the chat as well if anyone's tried honeycomb. Now, with the honeycomb, I put it in, we just have bits of honeycomb. You can dip it in chocolate and make like a little crunchy bar. My favorite is the Hokey Pokey ice cream, which is ice cream with honeycomb chunks in it. It is insane. One of my favorites, and I'm banned from making it at the moment, so I don't eat it all. 80 grams of water. Now we're adding 20 grams of honey, all golden syrup, so up to you. I'm adding honey in tonight. Like, when you realize how crazy easy this is, you'll be adding it to your list. 3 ingredients, literally it's water, sugar, honey. Now it's asked me to put the lid on without our measuring cup, pressing next, and the machine is now going into sugar mode. So for 22 minutes, that's just going to cook away on sugar mode. Okay, that is it. We're going to go back to that in a minute. Alrighty, I'm going to move my camera over, and we're going to start with this one. So this, any questions actually so far on the honeycomb, or is everyone good?
That's fine.
All fine? Beautiful. Hi, Mel.
Hey, sorry,
hello,
I'm
lovely.
late.
How are you?
Good.
Putting kids to bed, you know how it is.
Oh, no, you did very well. You did very well. We just started the honeycomb, so that's going in there.
Oh, yay.
But we're going to do Aussie potato salad now. So the recipe on Cookie Dough asks to make the cooked mayo. Now, I've already done that. I did that at a class last week. So there's my cooked mayo. Now, you can make mayonnaise in your Thermomix. It is literally just grapeseed oil, vinegar, salt, and eggs. Okay. Now, it cooks it, which means it can be in the fridge for over 2 weeks. Alrighty. So we're going to skip that step. Okay, just to keep things moving because we're cooking quite a bit tonight. But definitely give mayonnaise a go. All right, it is super simple and it just emulsifies in your machine. So we're using homemade mayo tonight. So we're starting, and what we all really want to see is we're starting with our peeler. Okay, now I'm going to swap this screen for 1 second. Okay, so if you have a look here, on your TM6, you've got little videos here. So it actually shows you how to place your peeler. So this is our new peeler. And that sits on your machine for your slow cooking, your sous vide, but to peel your potatoes too. Okay, so there's a little video on your screen so you can't get it wrong. We love that. I'm going to swap back to this. Okay, so I'm putting in my peeler. There it is. Okay, so it just fits where your butterfly wick sits. And I'm pressing next. Now it's asking me for 800 grams of red potatoes. So the general rule when you're doing the peeler is that as long as it fits in the hole, okay? So I just literally cut these in half. And I'm going to pop all of these in, straight in. Okay, so that's 800 grams, actually it's 820 of potatoes straight in there. I'm going to add 600 grams of water. Sorry, I'm just keeping my eye on the scale. All right, there's 600 grams. Pressing next. Okay, we're putting our lid on, but we're putting our measuring cup in as well. Pressing next. Okay, and our machine is going into peeler mode for 4 minutes. And it's loud. So that's because it's peeling 800 grams of potatoes. I just got all water everywhere.
And Teresa, I just wanted to say with the mayo, you spoke about the cooked mayo. For anyone that is looking for mayonnaise recipes and you haven't done the mayonnaise before, do make sure you look because there are 2 recipes. You can get a non-cooked one, which is super quick, but the flavor between the cooked and the non-cooked is quite different. So if you haven't done both of them, definitely do both of them and see the difference for yourself because it's, depending on your taste buds and what your palate is, you might lean towards one more than the other.
Yeah, definitely. I lean towards the cooked one. That's my personal preference. Is that what you like? Which one do you like?
No, I haven't done the cooked one, but it was after our last conversation. I'm like, I need to do it. And we're just about finished our mayo now. So I will definitely be hitting up the cooked one because I didn't know that there were 2 options until that conversation last week.
And the thing is with cooked, it just lasts in the fridge longer. And say if someone's pregnant or anything like that, it's just safer. But
yes,
it's great that it just lasts so long. There's nothing like homemade mayo, like it's just crazy. But with the peeler, how good this? The fact that my machine is peeling my potatoes and I do not have to do anything with it. We'll let that go for 2 minutes. We've got 2.5 minutes there.
Yeah.
Cookie dough tonight. I was also going to go through cookie dough also. When you have a TM6, you have access to adding your own created recipes onto cookie dough. So I was also going to chat about that tonight. So it gives you a bit of a heads up. I'm just going to answer this question.
Yes.
Can you use canola oil for the mayo? I'm not sure. I never had. They say you need to use like a very non-flavor oil, basically. So we use grapeseed oil. It's because it's just completely bland. Otherwise, it can leave a really strong flavor in it. But yeah, I tend to just buy a bottle of grapeseed oil, have it in the have it in the cupboard, So I'm ready to go at any stage if I ever need mayo. So
Yeah.
I haven't tried it. Have you tried it with any other oil, Renee?
I haven't. I would say if you haven't made it before, Anna, I would make it with a grape seed, so you know what I guess the general standard is. And then there's nothing to say it might be a flop, but give it a go with the canola if that is a preferred oil for you. So then you can compare and you've got like a baseline to go off of.
Yeah. Yeah. But grapeseed tends to be the winner.
Yeah, you don't want any over flavoring or overpowering flavors coming out from the oils, hence why they say not to use an olive oil because it is quite strong in aroma.
And with a mayo, you can also make an aioli, you can add garlic, you can add like a chili mayo, make it like a little bit of sriracha. Like you can definitely add all kinds of things to the mayo. It's just a base. Like aioli is delish. Like a garlic mayo. Yeah, lots of options. So
yeah,
remember the mayonnaise is just your base, and the machine will do the rest. We've got 18 seconds. I'll flip over to this.
that just happens so quickly to think that you have peeled that mass amount of potatoes in that time. Short conversation.
So if you haven't got a peeler yet, I highly recommend it. All right.
On the peeler topic, Teresa, before you go emptying that, if you are interested in hosting, isn't it one of our host rewards at the moment?
Yes, it is. So it is one of our free host rewards if you like to host a cooking experience. So here we go. Here's our potatoes. I'm going to grab. So they were red ones. Remember that. So there we go. You can see it's all there. Now we need to rinse it off, but you can see that it's taken off.
It's done a really great job.
All the skin. All right. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use my Varoma. I'm going to empty that. So all of the peel, I'll show you there, is kind of just sitting there at the bottom. Don't know if you can see it, but it just really disintegrates into nothing. I'm just going to rinse these off.
And don't forget that as well, as Teresa said, she's using her Varoma dish as a strainer. You can use your simmer basket as well. And it just saves one of those extra items in your cupboard space. So always keep that in mind, that they're definitely multifunctional pieces of equipment that we can have in our kitchen. And I guess on that note, my favorite one is using the lid as a funnel. So you just take out your measuring cup.
Yeah, I love that.
And use that with the jar. Saves so much mess because I always end up with it everywhere. That looks great, Teresa.
So there's our potatoes. Look, there's one or two little bits there that you could chop off, but you would probably cut them off. What do you think? Throw it in the chat. What do you think of the peeler? I love it because I'm so lazy. Like I would not make mashed potato and stuff because the thought of having to peel annoyed me, basically. All right, so it's asking me to remove my peeler. There it is. And rinse our bowl. I'm just going to rinse it. We love when it says that, and it does say I don't have to clean it. Okay, pressing next. All right, 500 grams of water. So the next step is that we're going to start boiling our potatoes. So we're making the Aussie potato salad here. 500 grams of water. There we go. Okay, lid on, pressing next. That's going to heat up for 5 minutes, alrighty? That's going to heat up. Now, while that is heating up, I'm going to cut the potatoes into pieces and place them into the Varoma. So just going to make them into smaller pieces for our potato salad while that's heating up. And while we're doing that, Renee, do you want to start yours? I'll spotlight you.
Definitely. Thanks for that, Teresa. So tonight I'm doing the sticky chili beef, a little bit of a modification because my kids will be eating this. I'm just taking out the chili part. When I just noticed before I was sitting here waiting for us to start, I'll just move this up so I can stand up. I laughed at myself a little bit because this recipe is so easy that this is literally what I bring to the table. I have my beef, which I've already done the marinating of, and I'll go through that. Just a heap of cut vegetables, and I have some oil, salt. I did have salt, someone stole that, and pepper. So that is, if you want a quick dish, this is one for you. The best part about this dish is that it's going to actually do our searing of the meat. So we're going to look at the high heat function in this recipe, which you obviously don't get on the other machines because it's only used through guided cooking as another safety feature. So here we go. It asked for me to measure into the bowl the ingredients for our marinade. I have actually already started to marinate my meat, as I had said, because I wanted to make sure that was ready to go for our cook. So it's asking us to pop in 25 grams of dark soy. So I'd normally pop that in and have it measure out. 4 tablespoons of the honey. If your honey, it does ask for runny honey, so you might need to mark it a little bit just to make sure it will blend nicely. It asks for tomato ketchup, so some tomato sauce, just a tablespoon of that, and then your red chili, all into the mixing bowl. Pop your lid on, it will do the mix for you. It's only a 10-second mix, so super quick there. Transfer into the bowl, and then you will measure in your meat. I already measured my meat in, as I said, so you'll just pop that whole bowl on top with the marinade in it. Measure in your 300 grams of sirloin steak cut into, and I got a little bit carried away, I cut them quite thin, but that's a little bit better for us, for the kids, because we've got a 1-year-old. So 1 centimetre strips. Once you've done that, pop it in the fridge for 30 minutes so it gets to really marinate and baste. It's quite a rich, it's got a beautiful aroma, but you can see in there, that's our beef and that's in its marinade. So we'll start to get cooking now. Oh, I might just turn on.
Renee, I'll give you a heads up when I'm at 10 minutes 50 to the honeycomb, but I'll let you know. I think we'll be right anyway.
I'll get the meat in and we'll be able to give that a bit of a sear.
Yeah.
So, moving along, it's asking for us to pop in 10 grams of sesame seed oil to do our sear. Just a little bit over, perfect. Moving on, add in our marinated meat. Now I did go a little bit heavy on some of the marinade, so I'm actually just going to scoop this in because I don't want all that juice in there. And I'm actually just moving it around because I want to make sure that it's evenly positioned around the bowl, because I want it to cook evenly because it's going to get so hot in there. So I don't want it to burn the bottom pieces. So just be mindful of that when you're chucking it in, to double check. And also just to make sure that the oil is around and lubricated the base, because it does heat up quite quickly. Popping our lid on, moving along. It actually gives you the instruction to ensure that it is evenly distributed. 1 minute, I forgot my heat guard for this.
So when it hits high heat, the machine will ask you to put the splash guard on, okay? It won't let you move on without specifying to put your splash guard. So that's why Renee's gone to get it. That splash guard sits on the top. It just prevents any splatters or anything, purely for safety. So the machine asks you to put it on. Now, high heat also is only accessible through a recipe through Cookie-Doo. It's not manual. And once again, that's for safety. So that's why it's within the recipe.
Yeah. And it has it preset in here. It's got the 3 flame lines. I'm not sure if you can see that on the screen, but I just turn now and it's on. 5 minutes sear cook, and you'll actually be able to hear it bubble partway through. So that's on its way now and started to do its thing there.
Perfect. I can jump on to
Fantastic.
Spotlight. So that has just heated up that water for 5 minutes. It is now asking me to put in my simmering basket, which has 4 eggs. So we love a potato salad with adding eggs. So that is there. Pressing next. Lid on. and we're putting in our Varoma on the top, okay? So in the Varoma, I just cut those pieces of potato into bite-sized pieces. So they're ready to go. Now, a trick with your Varoma is just make sure there's a little gap in the center, or just make sure there's little gaps around, because remember that is how the potatoes are cooking, and it just allows for like good ventilation, okay? So that is on there. And yeah.
Just while you're doing that, I'm just going to jump across. I don't know if you guys can hear that on my machine, but that is bubbling away. Can you hear that at all? Not sure if you can hear it, but it is sizzling, steaming, and doing exactly what it would do on your fry pan. Blows my mind, but it does it in there. Sorry.
Love it. No, that's one. We've spoken to a lot of people who have TM5s and 31s the last couple of days, and
yes.
That is definitely one of the points that people have said, is that the older models didn't necessarily have that high heat, that flavor, and that's the difference with the stick. So that's all cooking away. We've got 6.5 minutes left on that. Renee, how long have you got on yours?
About 3 minutes left.
3 minutes. Okay, I'm going to go through cookie dough for a little bit. Okay, what do we think? Is that okay?
Fantastic.
All right. Can everyone see cookie dough?
Yeah.
Beautiful. Okay. So with cookie dough, I love to spend an hour, half an hour on cookie dough session, because it's the teacher in me. I think it is, the machine is one thing, but using cookie dough wisely is another, like it's completely another. So throw in the chat what parts of cookie dough you don't feel confident with, or what you would like to know about, and I'll make sure I cover it today. So with cookie dough, you have your week that you can plan. So tonight our dinner was the tandoori chicken and the garlic and coriander naan. I will post it tomorrow. It was incredible, using my new pizza oven Mel with the grill that got delivered to your house. My grill got delivered to Mel's house. But yeah, so we used it tonight, and we made the tandoori chicken and the naan. Beautiful. There's my Aussie potato salad. Okay, for tonight. Tomorrow night, Monday night we're out. Tuesday night it's steamed greens, dumplings, seafood laksa. Wednesday we've got Luca's birthday, so that's wiped Thursday, Friday. But Saturday a fish cake, tuna pasta. Monday curry noodles with pork. Okay, so I've actually menu planned the next week. Okay, all I've done is, if I've found a recipe, I press add. I can add it to my week, or I can add it to my collection. So I've got some folders that I've created, and I might add it to dinner ideas for all, okay? It's really helpful to get the most out of your cookie dough. So once I've done that, I've added in all my recipes to my week. Here we have our shopping list, okay? I'm gonna put fresh show ingredients. So based on the recipes that I've added to my week, I now have a shopping list of ingredients that I need, purely for whatever is on that list. I can go by categories, or I can go by recipes, whatever it might be. I can also take off things that I've already got. So if I've already got raw sugar, I can press that cross and cross it off. If I've got olive oil, I can cross that and delete that too. Okay, so it's purely things that I need. If I scroll down to the bottom, I can also add other items, say like Vegemite, things that are not necessarily for Thermomix, but I still need them for my shop. Because when you go up to the top, you can either share it with someone, you can print off your shopping list, or better yet, you can press order ingredients, and that's going to send that off to Woolworths. Okay, so anything that's on your shopping list will now be on a Woolworths click and collect or delivery, whatever it might be. You can also, so there's a Vegemite that I asked for. You can swap your item, say you'd like just a home brand or whatever it might be, or a different size, you can absolutely choose that. So you've got full control. So that is your shopping with Woolworths and cookie dough. Did everyone get that? Any questions about that? Did you know about it?
Sense.
No. So menu planning is a hit. We've also got what we call collections. So when you explore, you can look up recipes or you can look them up in collections or recipe books. They are constantly adding. So this one is the new one that they added today. And it's a cooking book just purely based on eating well and a healthy gut. Okay. So oat and pomegranate overnight oats, fruit and nut bread, lentil salad. There's some really beautiful options there. So they're constantly releasing stuff. You constantly have access to new things. Now on my filters, I've added Australia, I've added the UK and US. Right, that's over 570 books that are available. If I'm looking at recipes, that's 8,500. That's enough. Like that's quite a lot to sift through and can be quite overwhelming sometimes. So you've got full access to that as well. Now, when you press filters, you have access to really condensing your search. So say to this is one of my favorites. If I have beef mince left over, always got beef mince in my freezer, like always. So you can type in your ingredient that you have, say beef. It's now given me 80 results of potential dishes that have beef in it, okay? So when you're stuck, you're not sure what to cook, I'm like, okay, I can make meatballs with sauce, I can make chili cheese nachos, chili con carne, and scroll through the 80 recipes and I'm sure you'll find something there, okay? So that's another tip I love about Cookie Do. And with your filters, if you also scroll down, you have to take these mince off. You also have prep time, total time, portions. Okay, so if you've got a few more in the family, you can add bigger portions. And if you scroll down to the bottom, you can take off those countries and take off English, and you might look up Italy for a legit, pasta sauce, or, Spain for, for some tapas or whatever it might be. You have access to every single country that's available. And then it really blows up to those 80,000 recipes and access to those 80,000 recipes. The difference between your previous models and your TM6 is that you can now have created recipes that go on your machine. So today I made Baker's Delight cheese and bacon rolls for the kids for their lunch boxes. Okay, instead of a sandwich, that's what they wanted today. This recipe is from the recipe community. Okay, it's not my recipe, it's the recipe community, and I've imported it into my Cookie Do. Once it's imported, it looks like this on your screen, and you can adjust the ingredient, the steps and stuff like that, and it is like guided cooking. Now I'm going to stop sharing, sorry to interrupt that, because my honeycomb is ready, and you've got to be quick with honeycomb. All right, I'm just throwing that, okay. Can everyone see?
Yeah, and once you've done that, Teresa, I've seared my meat, so then I'll do a
Oh, you can do the next one. Perfect.
really
All right. There's reasons for my madness here, because you've got to work quick.
Oh, you've got to move quick.
You've got to work quick. Oh, Rhonda's here. I'll just let her in. All right, so there's our sugar. So what I'm going to do is put bicarb around the blade. Okay, pressing next. I'm stirring it very quickly, and you'll see it start to bubble up. Can you see that?
Yep, changed color. I can see it changing consistency now.
Okay, and now I'm going to place it into my baking tray. And that's where it will sit. It's ridiculously easy. So when that cools,
yeah, go Teresa.
And then when it cools down, you'll have your beautiful honeycomb. Now, I highly recommend, because it's thick, just make sure there's nothing on that lid of the Thermomix, because it's going to do a clean on it now, and then the lid will find it, it'll be hard to get the lid on, all right? So there's our honeycomb. I'm going to fill that with water, and I forgot my vinegar. Okay, so lid, putting that in, I'm just going to grab vinegar, sorry.
No, you're right. Yes, Sam, it is definitely a much quicker process to cook your honeycomb in the Thermomix, but you do have to be super quick. As Teresa said, you can see she's trying to power to get that lid on. You want to get that lid back on and it cleaning as quickly as possible, because we all know how sticky that honeycomb will be in there. And the quicker you get it in there and heating back up to clean it off, the safer you'll be, and there'll be no scrubbing at the end.
Yeah, so basically, if you put if you clean it with hot water, it pretty much comes off. All right. So this is doing an initial wash with water and 50 grams of vinegar. But if I throw all this in the sink, that it'll be fine. It'll be hot. So there's our honeycomb done, and that's just going to cool down and do its little thing, and that's cleaning. Any questions about the honeycomb? Definitely give it a try. It's fun.
It's lots of fun.
And now once you've done it once and now you've seen it, it's easy to do. And it's fun. The kids love it. Yummy for all lots of things. But yep, there's our honeycomb. Renee, we'll drop to you.
Yeah. So the searing has stopped. It stopped a little bit while Teresa was speaking, going through cookie dough, but we're now just going to very carefully, obviously, because we've been using our splash guard. So take that off, our lid off. Oh, you can see it's created a bit of marinade in there as well with the meat. So I'm just going to transfer that all over the computer and into the bowl. Put one little dag in there. Remember, if you get things stuck under your blades, always use your little nozzle instead of putting your hand in there where it could be quite hot. But even though that's seared, the base of it, so that oil has really lubricated that base and done a great job in there. No washing, and this is why we love these recipes. It just now asks us for 300 grams of vegetables. This recipe is actually for 2. So just be mindful of that if you're doing a bigger batch. Just, you know, modify what you can, but always make everything the way it is stated on the recipe to begin with, just so then you know how much extra you can put in. Mine's actually 420. I knew I got a little bit excited with my vegetables. I always do. And I'm going to say that's about halfway filled. I just put, it only asks for a mix. It doesn't stipulate exactly what you need to use. So this is, again, one of those recipes that you can clean out your fridge. You can make it to suit your kids. If they only like capsicum and broccoli, we'll then put that in. If they only like beans and carrots, we'll then put that in. I've got capsicum, broccoli, baby corn in there, and some beans. So a bit of an array of stuff. You then need to top up the machine with 10 grams of sesame seed oil to do the vegetable sear. Oh, I might take that off because I'm going to miss it. I always get a bit excited with sesame seed oil and go over, so try and watch that. Pop that on. This time it's going to ask us for our lid, our measuring cup to be popped in. And we turn and we're going to be mixing at 0.5, so quite a slow mix, but we're going to get up to 120 degrees, 3 minutes in there. And that's our meat just there. Back to you, Teresa, if you wanted to continue on.
Yeah, sorry, I was just cleaning the bowl. So with adding so instead of when you're adding extra to your jug, make sure that you just don't go over your maximum line. So that's in your jug. If you have a look at the side, it'll tell you what the maximum is. Don't go over that. But the general rule is just add 20%. So say you're cooking double the batch, just add 20% of time to the cook or at a few minutes or whatever it might be. And that should be sufficient to cook that extra amount. Okay, so you can definitely make a bigger batch of that. Alrighty, so we're going to jump to my potatoes. Pressing next. So there's our potatoes cooked. Now it's asking me to remove my basket with my eggs. So remember to use the back of your spotlight. Remember to use the back of your spatula. There's our 4 eggs. Let them cool down. Pressing next. Lid on. Going to stir those potatoes around. Press next. Lid on. And that's just going to cook for another 5 minutes. But of course, double check it, and it says to do that. Check that it doesn't need less or more time, and that's cooking on varoma. Now, another trick is on the right side of your machine on your screen, if you press the preview button, it will actually tell you what the next 2 steps are. Okay, so that's just a little handy hint. So the next tip is it's going to tell me to put my potatoes into a serving bowl and then do the last step of our salad. Okay, so press that preview button. It will tell you what the next step of your cook is. So if you want to prep anything, you can absolutely do that. How's yours, Renee?
I'm just about done. So it's got 9 seconds. So I might show you the next step, because now what you do is you actually just pop your beef back in. So it's seared it and browned it. It's now done the vegetables. And now we just reserve our meat, and it's going to do.
You want your screen?
Yep. Sorry, I'm just going to pop that beef back in there. With that extra sauce, because that's now going to marinate and coat the vegetables. So it's created a nice sauce to go with that. And I do have to say, the aroma is actually amazing on this. Again, make sure you are following the instructions. It's asking for the splash guard again to let out that high heat steam, so it's not building up in there. So I'm agreeing that I've done that. Literally just going to turn my dial. It's going to get to its maximum temperature, and it's just going to do a 3-minute cook now. And that's it. Dinner will be served. So that's a pretty good quick one. If ever you need one, and it uses that high heat to build that beautiful deep flavor in your dish. So that's it. I'll show you the end product very short.
Mine is
and I can hear it sizzling already. Sorry, Teresa. So in under 30 seconds, it's already sizzling. So that's how hot it's getting that quickly.
I'm going to share my screen. I'm going to go back to cookie dough for another 2.5 minutes before my potato salad is going to be ready as well. So this is a recipe that I've grabbed from the recipe community. So I've got quite a few favorites. I've got some yogurt, some pancakes I was going to try. This crunchy slice was amazing. Things like that. Yeah, I know. I've got shredded chicken. Now I do that weekly. That's my little meal plan thing. So I use that shredded chicken for lunch boxes, for my lunches. It is just my go-to. I basically cook some chicken in the varoma, throw it in the bottom, shred it, add some mayo. We are done. And it's just a really good go-to. Now, I love having that now on my machine because I can just do it even quicker. This chicken and corn soup is one of my favorites. I've added that to it, and some bread things that I make often, okay? So they're ones that I've added. Now, someone asked me how to add it. So I'm going to go to the recipe community. You can put in the chat if you have ever used recipe community. If you had a 31, you probably have. It's just basically a recipe community of consultants, but also of owners, and they've added their favorite recipes, ones they've created, and you have access to them. So say I would like to make, let's have a look, what's this? Vegemite and cheese scrolls, okay? The recipe of the week. So I'm going to choose that one. And if you scroll down, see this little button here? It says add to cookie dough. Okay, so I'm going to check it out. Go, yeah, looks pretty good. I like the look of it. I'm going to press add to cookie dough. And it says, you know, this is adding to your favorite, you know, one of your creative collections. I press yes. And I now have that Vegemite and cheese scroll on my cookie dough. Now, when I do a cookie dough class, definitely jump on board because I will teach you how to adjust the recipes to make it guided cooking for your machine. It's a bit too much for tonight, but I definitely spend some time going through this. So, you know, formatting this recipe so it's for guided cooking makes it even easier. Oh, Sam, when I first got my TM31, I used it heaps. 100%. We've had a lot of people go from the 31 to the 6 purely because they are able to add, you know, these favorites that they have in the recipe community to their cookie dough. It's really a big draw card. So yeah, it's going to be great. So there's our Vegemite cheese scrolls, another option on your TM6. Any questions about cookie dough or anything else you would like to know about it? Just throw it in the chat, or you can
Come off mute.
come off mute too.
Yeah, come off mute.
No. Okay, I'm pressing next. My potatoes should be done. And I'm going to use my server. Okay, I'm going to throw them in the server. I should check one. No, that's great. So think about all the stuff that you use to make potato salad. Pots, pans, all kinds of things. But we just need our Fermi now. Okay, emptying that, pressing next. We're adding some bacon. So there's my bacon into there.
Yum.
Shallot, some green spring onions, pressing next. And olive oil. Oh, I need to get olive oil. Sorry.
All good.
I know we did a lot of cooking tonight, so I used it for our tandoori.
Yum. That sounds delicious, those recipes.
I highly recommend, another reason to love my pizza oven. Yeah, tandoori. So I had tandoori paste in the freezer from like cooking experiences. And yeah, you just do this beautiful like finger on it, and then
so the actual skewers go in the pizza oven.
yeah, so you get like a plate that goes into the pizza oven, and you put the skewers in there, and oh my gosh. And then I made garlic and coriander naan as well, and we cooked them in the pizza oven.
Oh, how'd they come out in the pizza oven, the naans?
Yeah, so good. So good.
Oh,
so highly recommend. So because we're getting late and I don't want everyone stuck on here for too long, potatoes, the next part is just frying up the bacon, and it's frying up the spring onions, and it's asking to place my eggs into my peel the eggs, put them into the salad, okay? And then we're going to add 200 grams of my homemade mayonnaise, and then I'll throw in the bacon and spring onions. So what I'll do is I'll take a photo and I'll post it on Instagram as well, so you can see the finished product, but pretty good. And I'll also take a photo of the honeycomb. So that's still doing its thing, still very hot, cooling down. And it will be delicious. And there's a little space here.
Oh, they've sniffed it out already.
You know, something, mummy's cooking something, and you'll probably want to eat it.
Just before bed, that's what we need, isn't it?
Just before bed, yeah, sounds great. Honeycomb is delicious.
And it's so sticky.
It's so sticky, you're right. It is
So
sticky.
sticky. Just as the sticky beef. So this is actually ready as well. So you can see that it's just beautifully marinated and combined all of that together. And then literally we plate it up, and there you go. Dinner is done in minutes. It's fresh. You're not using packet mixes, all of those things. Extra veggies on top. put a little bit more of that beautiful
An extra
sauce.
flavour because they're at a high heat.
Definitely. And you can really smell that aroma. I might actually use this one just so you can see.
Oh, hang on, I'll put that spotlight on.
Yeah. And that's our beautiful dinner ready to go.
You could do some rice with that as well.
You could do rice. You could do, some people like a little bit of cabbage, steamed cabbage on the side for being super healthy, but beautiful. There we go.
Awesome.
The girls will eat that tomorrow for lunch.
Yeah, nice one. That is it for tonight. We've done it in 45 minutes. I'm pretty impressed. So
Super impressed. We've done really well.
we've done really well. So I like to be really efficient on these things. I know everyone doesn't like sitting on Zoom for too long, but Honeycomb, we've checked out the peeler. We've peeled our potatoes. I'd love to hear what you think about the peeler because I know that I was skeptical about it all. But I think, or I would think that would sell you on that. That's pretty good, isn't it? We made a potato salad, talked about mayonnaise, did cookie dough, and made some chili beef. So I hope that was helpful, and I hope you got a lot out of it. But please feel free to ask us any questions that you have, and we'll be happy to help.
Definitely. And don't forget, if you were interested, you can pick up a blade cover as a host reward, just as an easy way. They are about $60, but it's always nice if you can get your hands on something free. We never complain about that, but that's one offer that is up and running at the moment.
Thank you, everyone, for coming. We really appreciate it.
Thank you for your time. Lovely seeing you all. Enjoy the rest of your evening.